Hello guys, welcome everybody to Mando Monday. This is the series where you guys ask the questions and I, of course, answer them. This could be to do with anything related to Counter-Strike Global Offensive, CSGO investing, or anything possible future operation or Source 2 related. If you guys got any questions about that, I'll do my best to answer them, of course, in every single video. And speaking of questions, if you guys have one for next week, make sure you leave it down below this video or anyone to be exact, as well as I have posts and polls that go up on usually Saturday or Sunday before Monday comes along where I record the video. You go ask Mando and then ask your question. It's usually easiest for me to find it that way specifically. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and of course subscribe. And before we hop into the questions and commentary for this week's video of Mando Monday, here's a quick word from our video sponsor, SkinsMonkey. Now today's video sponsor is of course SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is currently the easiest and also fastest way you can buy, but most importantly trade your CSGO skins. All you have to do is make sure you have your trade link, and on your first trade, if you have a leftover balance, it goes towards your current balance that can be used the next time you end up trading skins. It has 3 ways you can inspect, but most importantly has a very in-depth inspect feature that you can see corners on a karambit, for an example, that you can't really see otherwise unless you have the item in game. If you end up topping up your balance, make sure to use promo code MANDO to get up to a 35% deposit bonus and a free $5 on the first trade. Now, before we get into the questions for this week's episode of Mando Monday, there are a couple of talking points I want to discuss that I feel like are very important that don't really deserve their own video at this point in time. Number one is the Hooksy situation. Now, I have a whole video on what happened, if you should buy in, if you should sell some of yours that you have right now, if you did buy them in early, and answer some questions for that right now. Do not buy into that. I think it's not worth it at all. If you have them right now, I would just 100% sell. Probably your best option, especially if you bought in early on. It's 1,000% profit, legitimately. On a gold, for an example, when it went from $2 to $60, the hollow went from $1.50 all the way up to $10, and of course the glitter being 20 cents, now being a couple bucks. But now they're starting to go back down, and you've kind of missed that boat of opportunity. And why he went up so much in the first place was because he was the most garbage player, apparently, on Copenhagen Flames. And number 2, before we get into the question, I feel like a lot of people aren't discussing this, but I am noticing it personally, and that is a lot of CSGO content creators, one, are not uploading a whole lot, but people are just straight up leaving the space and taking a break, which is not the greatest for CSGO. CSGO player count-wise is at an all-time high right now at 1.1 million, I believe, and it's been almost surpassed, which is just kind of crazy to consider. But on the CSGO YouTube space, it's the worst it's ever been. You're seeing people like Anomaly, TDM Jesus, I know they uploaded today, but they're never uploading. And I'm not sure if that's because they're doing, obviously they're trading and selling buff balance and whatnot, but they're not uploading a whole lot. And of course, the smaller content creators, the shorter form content. I know Rave recently took a break. I'm not sure if that's for personal reasons or for different reasons on YouTube, but the CSGO space on YouTube has been really, really bad. And that, of course, I've talked about in Mando Monday and some CSGO news videos recently, but that, of course, is the demonetization for CSGO on YouTube. It's at an all-time high. Pretty much, YouTube channels are getting targeted and just flagged, I guess, as soon as you upload CSGO content, it's getting demonetized right away. 90% of the time, I would say, maybe 75 actually, it will get monetized, but it takes up to a week for that to happen. So by the time you upload your video, which for the most part, for at least investing and skins and whatnot, you want that to be very relevant. And when you upload it a week after, it's not going to get as many views. And also the first 24 to 48 hours of you uploading a video, it's going to get the majority and bulk of its views then, not later on. So people working 6 or 7, maybe 8-hour days on some videos, for an example, it's not really worth it for them because, one, they're not making anything back, and it's just a really crappy situation overall. My best advice to smaller content creators and just content creators in general, get some sponsors. There's a lot in the CSGO community that aren't really shady, and that will pay you for your work. Sure, you might be missing out on a few $100s, maybe up to $1,000 a month, but at least you can get paid to do your dream job in some sort of way. And of course, let's hop into the questions for this week's video, after that being kind of a little weird. Number 1 is kind of split into 2 questions, but I saw these a lot recently, and I need to discuss them all in one question because they're very relevant to this specifically. And this, of course, is from Rahul and Rogue Jetster, and they both ask about DreamHack 2014 and Katowice 2015 investments. Are they good? Should you buy them in at this point in time? And I'm going to give you my experience with some of these, and of course, my thoughts and opinions on if you should buy right now or sell. So for me, I was a DreamHack 2014 Hollow collector, specifically Dignitas from 2014. It was really fun. It was really cool. I bought some stickers. I bought some crafts. I even crafted some of my own. And I collected some Katowice 2015 stickers a little last year, But the problem I had with both of these things specifically is they take a long time to ROI. And specifically, it's really random when you make profit on these stickers specifically. I feel like versus some of the newer stuff that comes out in CSGO, even if Antwerp is a flop, which it was kind of at the beginning at least, maybe not in the future, we won't know for now. But they just take so long to ROI and of course make some money on top of that. And for me, it wasn't really worth keeping these, $300-$400 crafts or $200 stickers at the time for Dignitas Hollows from DreamHack 2014. So I just went into cases. So you'll be sitting on these for a very long time. And the problem with just sticker investing in general, I've talked about it in the oversaturation video, but there's just simply too many stickers getting added to CSGO. And this is my biggest problem. And I think it's going to be a big problem with years to come, in 2026, 2027. If we have 2 or 3 majors a year and there's 400 plus stickers in each single major, that's going to be a problem. Major stickers are eventually just going to be oversaturated. And what's the point of buying 2 or 3 year older major stickers if they look somewhat similar for 2 or 3 times the price when 90% of the players are still going to be playing that played 3 years ago? And of course, those capsules and stickers are 25 cents each. Doesn't really make any sense why you'd go back and buy the older ones. So Valve has to change up the designs. But to answer your question, they will eventually go up. It's just a matter of when. So if you're wanting to wait on them for a little while, definitely go for it. But for me personally, I was not one to find success at the time. But of course, that's just my personal experience and opinion. If you guys have any questions or thoughts on this to help these guys out down below, make sure you do so. And of course, our next question, our kind of real question up here first, is from Neb. And he says, which Star Wars trilogy claimed to be your favorite at Luke Eats? So my favorite Star Wars trilogy at this point in time, obviously the originals are great. The sequels for me are kind of out of the picture, and the prequels, I grew up with the prequels, so I really, really enjoy them. I love Revenge of the Sith. I like The Phantom Menace. I like the story behind it, but, there are some things I don't like that much about the prequels, like obviously, some of the bad writing here and there. But for me, I just can't beat, watching Revenge of the Sith and that transition period from the Republic and the Jedi, from the clone troopers to the Empire, where you see Anakin turn into Darth Vader. I feel like for me, nothing can beat that and nothing can top that, and it's just my favorite thing to watch in the entire world. Though obviously Vader's redemption arc in Return of the Jedi and Empire and the originals are very good, I'm just going to have to go with the prequels for me. Obviously, if you grew up during the originals, you're going to have a lot different of an opinion than I would, but that's of course just how I think and how I feel specifically for those. I just have a very great spot in my heart for the prequels, but obviously the originals are very close second. Let me know what you guys think down below if you guys watch Star Wars or of course are a Trekkie. I know there's some of you guys out there that are just sick. Our next question up here is of course from Adren, and he says, how do you prepare for an upcoming operation in terms of investment? So really, there's not much you can do because the biggest problem is, of course, predicting when this operation is going to come. The past 2 months and really 6 months, we've been predicting an operation and also Source 2 to come out in August, which that never happened. It's apparently been delayed till 2023. The source is, I don't know, bro. Gabe Follower and, of course, just some other reliable people from the community on Twitter and whatnot. And that's all just kind of he said, she said type of stuff. But for an operation, if one comes out next month, all your items and all the things you have most likely right now are going to crash, and they're most likely not going to rise back up until a little after the operation. An operation can usually last 3.5 months-ish, and with majors going on, you might not see some of those go up for a long time. But one thing I would say you can prepare yourself for an operation at just some point in time, if you think one's going to come in the next couple of weeks, one thing I suggest you do, go on a third-party website, pick up a Karambit Doppler or a really nice op skin, for an example. Check the price of it on a third-party website and then check the price of it on the Steam market. If it sells pretty well on the Steam market, for an example, buy that skin on a third-party website for a lot cheaper and then sell it for a lot more on the Steam market. This way you have some money to work with that's kind of, I would say, fee-free, where you don't have to pay really any fees, or if you make some mess-ups, it's kind of free money in a way for that operation. You can buy some things early, flip them on later on. You can set buy orders really early before anyone else can, so you can make a insane profit, for an example. Buy some stickers early before they really go up, which this deserves probably its own video, this question right here. But also the biggest thing I would say too, besides having a Steam balance, is waiting. I would say waiting is very, very important for CSGO items, especially with operations. You want to wait as long as you can before the operation ends and buy in that point where it's extremely cheap, but also not too expensive either, because you want to see where it's going. So you want to buy in when it's starting to go up, but not too much up. Like with the Miami Tier 6 Holo, the Liquid Fire sticker, Liquid Fire Holo, the Battlescarred Holo, buying in really early on was good, but there were some points with some of these individual items where they were really high on at the beginning. The Miami Tier 6 stickers and the Miami stickers in general, the Tier 6, sorry, Some of these were $5 at the beginning, then dropped down to $2 or $3, and then they shot back up to over 12. You want to buy somewhere after it goes, up from the initial beginning. So waiting maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month or two into the operation, that's when you want to buy into a lot of investments to keep them for the long term if that's your goal. Now, our next question up here from Adam, and he says, would you make a re-upload in what you would invest in right now for a certain budget, let's just say 100 to 200 euros? So good question, man, but the answer to this, sadly, is I don't think I'm going to do that. A few different reasons. I kind of have stopped doing play skin investments for sure, because I've noticed, sadly, I can have some sort of manipulation on the market if I talk about one item in a video a little too much, or it just gives people a bad taste in their mouth, and I don't want to do that. I might talk about a couple skins for sure. In this video, another reason I have a problem with it right now is skin prices. As much as I'd like to, say hold things for the long term, things are extremely high in price. When you're seeing breakout cases almost go to $5, it's very hard for me to recommend for you to buy in at $4.40, $4.50, or $4.20 on this day of recording this video, specifically on the 13th of September. When in 3 months from now, if the market crashes all of a sudden, for whatever reason, let's just say an operation comes out, most of us, I would say 100% of the community, 99.9, is thinking the market's going to absolutely crash. Well, what if it doesn't? What if it keeps going up and then crashes after? We just have no real idea of what's going to happen to the CSGO market. So let's just say things did crash. That would be a better opportunity to buy in then than right now. Then you'd be holding for a longer period in time. Because a lot of people, and the reason I wouldn't make it, 90% of the people in the CSGO community and CSGO investing want to make a quick buck, when realistically that's not really possible anymore. But I suppose for people who do want to hold for the long term, like I'm talking a few years, maybe I could do a video like that. It'd mostly just be cases probably, and maybe some stickers here and there. But most of the time, and I would say majority of the video, would be cases. But that would even be kind of weird. I'll have to think about it. But for 100 to 200 euros right now, definitely just go into some cases. Of course, on third-party websites, not on Steam. Now, our next question up here, and this guy says, ask Mando, what is happening with cheap CSGO cases? So, good question. I know there's been a lot of people who have come back to CSGO, or maybe haven't been in the loop or space for a little while, and they're coming back to the scene, and they're seeing Chroma cases go to almost $1 for the Chroma 3, which doesn't even feel like that long ago it came out. You're seeing Revolver cases go to 60 cents in the Steam market, Breakout cases going to $5. Clutch cases go to 40. Things are just going astronomically in price, of course. Essentially, we have a lot of people playing the game right now. And also on top of that, a lot of people are figuring out the ins and outs of making money inside of CSGO. That, of course, is also investing, which is just kind of crazy. So with 1 million people playing the game, the most I would say really ever in CSGO, because the pandemic era of CS, though we had 1.3 million and now we have 1.1 million-ish, those numbers, I would say, were kind of inflated, and everyone playing the game at the time weren't actually buying skins all the time. Also, right now, there's nothing going on. So without an operation, without Source 2, without a major, people are focused on opening older things in the game, and that's also what's pushing up cases so much, that weren't there before. You're also having a lot of, I would say, more wealthy people come into the scene in sponsored giveaways, sponsored videos where people are opening thousands and thousands of cases. Especially some of these older ones, it's pushing up the price of them quite a bit. And I would say in the next few years, we're most likely going to see some cases go completely extinct, or at least come close to extinction, where they're not going to be able to be opened anymore because they're so old. And if they're from an operation, well, we're just not going to see them anymore. Our next question up here is, of course, about Dignitas, and will they compete in the qualifiers for the Rio Major or any of the ones in 2023? Essentially, I don't know. Apparently, they disbanded according to this comment. I don't follow the pro scene too much anymore. But when I do see the people who qualified for the major, I'll make sure to make a video on it. Because if someone like Dignitas did qualify for the future major, it would, of course, affect prices quite a bit. And what I mean by that is Dignitas hasn't competed in a very long time. So their older stickers, people think those are just not going to ever come out again. If we get something that looks closer to something like we saw from the 2014 Cologne Hollow, those things obviously being super expensive because it's a rare sticker, it looks really good, and the logo is pretty cool. If we get something close to that again, it could really affect the older price of those stickers specifically. But that, of course, is just speculation and probably for a video for another time. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think they're going to qualify for any majors in 2023? Let me know. Our next question up here from Maple Syrup, and he says, will low-end PCs benefit or suffer from Source 2? So, good question. Right off the bat, if you're running a 970 or a 950 Ti from 2012 to 2014, 2015, it might be time to upgrade your PC. I don't mean that in a bad way. But if you have a really low-end PC and an older one specifically, with a new thing like Source 2, as much as it will benefit computers, having that old of a PC might not be able to keep up. But for people who have a 1060, a 1070, or the 20 series or 30 series cards, I would say this is where most people are going to benefit from this the most. You know, it's going to run in 64-bit. Somehow bring down the RAM usage maybe in your PC. I'm not too sure, but it will be a lot more optimized, especially for like lower end gaming PCs that are absolutely horrendous. Like, it's not going to make an E-machine work on CSGO, but it might give you a 10 to 15% increase in FPS if you have like a 1050 or 1060. That's, of course, from what I've heard, from what I've seen, from people who know what they're talking about Source 2. Our next question up here from Rookie, and it's probably the most creative I've seen in this video specifically, and for a long time from Mando Monday. And he's talking about, it's a little bit of a longer one, so I'm just going to set it up for you. What would make agent skins more cool for me? This guy is saying he would like different reload animations for certain individual agents. For example, a Russian operator will reload the AK a lot different or in a more cool of a way, let's just say. Which, this is something I would love to see. Would this happen? Probably not. Valve probably wouldn't go this far into the next, operation, for example, for an operator to do that. Number one, I would say it would make all the other ones feel a lot less useful, if that makes any sense. But I think this would really benefit the game in a lot of different ways. One, it would obviously boost the price of them, but probably crash the older ones. But it will make the game feel a lot more fresh and a little bit more different, which I think this is what people would want quite a bit. And for me, this is something I would love to see, I think, in the future. It's a really, really cool idea. And having different animations and, of course, on top of that, voice lines, it really changes up the game and how it feels, makes it feel a little more fresh. Now, our next question and comment up here is, of course, about CSGO Tradeups. And this guy's talking about, it's a little bit of a longer one, so I'm just going to sum it up for you. He says this might not be for everybody, but a good way to earn money from CSGO and earn profit is, of course, from Tradeups. Now, it absolutely is, and part of the reason I haven't actually covered them is, for me personally, I feel like YouTube is just one of those things that has absolutely canned and ruined CSGO Tradeups. Not just YouTube, not any individual YouTubers. Eventually, someone was going to do it. Back in the day, it started with Jesus, and then obviously he was getting a lot of views doing it. Other people started following suit. People saw that there was money involved, obviously, besides the Tradeups, especially on YouTube. Kind of did that, hopped on those trends. And now you have whole websites designed around CSGO Tradeups. Tells you the exact float, tells you the exact where you want to get, what skin you want to get, the odds and probability of what skin you're going to get, how much money you're going to end up with in the end, worst and best case scenario. So they're just a lot harder to obtain, of course, especially some of those skins. But I feel like for me, they just don't feel as special. Obviously, it's a little more, you actually have to do stuff rather than just case invest. But those two, I feel like, are just two completely different things. You definitely get more of a thrill doing a trade up than just investing in a case. But of course, they are profitable. I just feel like a lot more time has to go into that than if you would just buy into cases, for an example. Let me know what you guys think down below. Now, our next question and comment up here is also a very long one. And I know we've had a lot of long questions in today's video, but I'm just going to sum it up for you guys as well. And he is pretty much talking about how the Broken Fang cases and Riptide cases are going up quite a bit, and no one's really talking about it. The Riptide case in the past few months, I know Jesus made a video on this on his Shorts channel, I believe the other day. It gained almost $1 in just the past few months, which is very big growth, and the quantity is lower than 10K. And essentially, it's not that anyone's not talking about the operation cases. It's like, I think people just don't really care about them specifically. Now, the Riptide case is something I don't understand why people are unboxing it. At the time it came out, I know Jesus just made a video on this, and I did watch a part of it. You guys are interested in what's going on with the Riptide case, I suggest you go watch it. But me summing it up right now, essentially when it came out, no one enjoyed it, and I didn't enjoy it either. The only good thing in it really was the Desert Eagle, because what it really doesn't make sense in it is you can get the same knives, but that's what most people are unboxing this case for. And of course, the Dreams and Nightmares case for like $1 cheaper than what you're unboxing this case for. But I think why people are unboxing this case specifically so much versus other ones is, of course, because of how much other skins cost in the case. The Desert Eagle is obviously pretty expensive. The Scout's pretty expensive for what it is anyway, and what rarity it is and how many are on the market. Let's just say you end up with a really garbage item. It's going to be worth a lot more than if you unbox the Riptide. It's going to be a lot more than if you unbox the Dreams and Nightmares and end up with a crappy skin versus if you end up with a crappy skin in, Riptide. It'll be a lot worth more in the long run, if that makes any sense. And of course, it's just a little bit newer. It's more exclusive, feels more special to some people. And the Broken Fang case is always going to go up. The Prince Stream is one of the best skins in the game, especially for the M4, and everyone's still using the M4NS, I feel like. And of course, the gloves are pretty exclusive. So this is just going to continue to go up. I would say both of them are. They're pretty safe investments, especially for me anyway, Operation Broken Fang, because it makes the most sense why someone would go back and unbox this rather than Riptide in a year or two. So that's it, and that pretty much wraps out Mando Monday for this week specifically. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know the microphone sounds a little bit different, and once again, I'm really sorry, and I do apologize for the delay. Have had some setup issues the past 24 hours, but look forward and stay tuned to some pretty cool announcements later this week, like a setup tour, room tour, 10K special, and of course some announcements alongside that. Let me know what you guys think. Peace out, guys.